a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm me, Rob. Let's get this therapy session on the road.
That's what this base is going to be, guys. It's going to be basically one big therapy session. If you notice, we changed our background there. We got some nice bubbling beer in the background here. It's just, guys, the losses are stacking up, man. They are just stacking up there. Whew, it's just, yeah. It's getting bad. It's getting bad here, guys. So we have a new graphic here for you guys as well, because this is what these are turning. They're post-game therapy sessions here. It's post-game therapy time, guys. What it is now, because how many losses can we take before we just start flipping out? Well, let's be frank. We've been kind of flipping out.
I was about to say, we've been flipping out. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I guess. So we're going to give another warning, as we've been doing lately on our post game. If you are not a fan of cursing, if you have a child with you, if you have anybody who's impressionable or whatever, or you're clutching your pearls when people say "gosh darn," yeah, guys, we're going to curse.
Yeah, hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your mother, hide your grandmother.
Listen, wife's curse. Mine curses all the time. You grew up with her, you know it.
Yeah.
She's also from Jersey. That's what they do. Jersey girls are different. They don't pump gas and they cuss like crazy.
We're from Jersey.
So, yeah. Let's break it down here. So, we always get so... I realized something the other day. We get so pissed off. We don't get the damn final score half the time.
It's true. Well, when you're getting blown out, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, guys, we lost 31-16. 31-16. So, let's... Where do you want to start? Do you want to start at offense or defense this week here, Rob? Where do you want to start? You get to decide.
I guess we're going to start with some special teams, and then we'll go down to the worst.
You want to start with special teams?
They weren't too bad, but the problem is, defense. I guess we're going to start with the defense, because they're the only touchdown we had in this game. It was a pick six, 102 yards. And that was the only upside of this game. Well,
the pick six is on the defense then. So do you
want to say we're going to start with the defense? I switched it out. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I was actually going to say something nice about our punter too. So Okay.
Well, yeah. Well, we'll lead into that because our defense is what kept us in this game somewhat, and not as a complete blowout.
So, you know what it reminds me of? Not to get all literal with people here, but this is very Charles Dickens-esque. Like, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. So we go into this game, we don't have a single goddamn turnover. It's a quarter of the way through the season. I know not 100% of 17 games now, but still, basically a quarter of the way through the goddamn season. We get 3 turnovers.
Yeah, a pick six, nonetheless. Fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, if you had told me going into this damn game, the Giants will get 3 turnovers and not give up the ball on a turnover themselves, be +3, I would have told you, oh my God, the Giants might have a shot in this game.
Yeah, and that's the only reason why it wasn't 9 to actually it would probably be even less than that. It would be 6-31.
Well, I mean,
it wasn't for defense.
The Pinnock interception would have definitely been a score. The Kayvon Thibodeau fumble recovery would have been at least 3 at that point. They were already in field goal range. I mean, it's just like, but
that's what they walked away with. It was a field goal off that.
But they still give up 31 points in this game. So it's not like we're sitting here praising the defense. And I know, listen, we didn't give up 70. We're not the Broncos. I get it. We're not the goddamn Broncos. We got to set the bar at a higher level, guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the highest powered offense in the league right now. First in touchdowns, first in yards. They just put up points. That's what they do.
We went over this in the pregame show here. I'm not buying that bullshit. They gave 70 points they scored against the Broncos. They scored less than 30 against both the Bills and the Patriots. It's not that they're that good of an offense. They take advantage of shitty defenses.
You're right.
That's what they do. And that's
You
fine to do
also have-
that. Listen, as long as you can score enough against the good defenses to win, which they have one of the 2 times so far.
Say it at least.
Yeah. But here's the problem is that if you can't tackle, if you can't cut the right angles, because that's one thing you got to look at there. It's not just the tackling part, it's getting the right angles. If you can't keep people in front of you because you don't have the speed to chase after them, like an A-chain, like a Hill, you're going to be in trouble. And that's where we're at, guys. We are in trouble on defense because of these things. Yeah. Now, we will never face another offense like this all season long. That's the good news, guys. This offense is built differently. I'm not buying what Wink said, though, this week about calling it like the greatest show on turf with more speed. I'm not going to go that far. I don't think this is a historically good offense. I just think this is a historically fast offense. There is and we're not that fast. We don't have that speed to hold up to them. That's shown multiple times here. So, but again, they gave up 31 points while also getting 3 turnovers. Not good, guys. I mean,
no.
Let's look quick what we gave up here. So, Tua, 22 of 30, 308 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks.
Yeah, A-chain, phenomenal game. Although I did pick him up on DraftKings, so he also has been fantastic of keeping me in first place in one of these leagues. I mean,
yeah,
151 yards on there.
11 carries. You need 11 carries. Average 13.7 yards per rush, guys.
I was about to say it's ridiculous. Like, and Mozart is just as good. He just doesn't have as many. Like, it's unattainable to keep up 13.7 yards
just
per
as
carry.
good. He only had 6.5 yards per carry.
Yeah. Listen, that's the number one in any and 31 other teams.
Oh, I know. I mean, he had 10 rushes, 65 yards. A damn good game by him. Had a touchdown as well. But, you know, the big thing is we talked about this like crazy on the pregame, and I was drilling this into people's head for a reason. If you want to stop the Dolphins, there is one man you must stop, and it's not Tua. It's not A-Chain as good as he's been the last couple of weeks. It's Tyreek Hill.
Who
didn't stop. 8 catches, 181 yards, and a touchdown. Now,
yeah, he had
I didn't expect to stop
right?
him. Yeah, I didn't expect to stop him. Don't get me wrong. I want him to be a guy who gets like 50, 60, 70 yards, doesn't have all the big plays and all. And we just let them. Guys, these guys just march down the field whenever they wanted. Literally just marched down the field like it was nothing. Like we didn't even have a goddamn defense. Like, what the hell?
They found the right holes and got right through it. Where's John for the remark?
I mean, it's also like I said, a lot on us and the lack of tackling and the lack of angles. I mean, I saw a couple missed tackles, even bad angles by Dane Belton. You know, we talked about him in beginning of the year where I said I think he's actually a candidate to get cut. I don't think he's that good. I still stand by that, and this game just solidifies that for me. You know, but I see supposedly big names all over the place. You know, Xavier McKinney, who people have like talked about as being this great player forever and ever and ever. I don't see it still. I think he's a good player. I think he's above average player. But this is a guy that, we're going to have to go ahead and take a look pretty quickly on what we're going to do with him. You know, yeah. I'll give them a shameless plug because they plugged us pretty hardcore there. I was just on with Jerry Foley of the Giants Insider on their live stream, and he was kind of asking, well, where do we go from here? And it's like, well, we got to look at some of these players now, guys, and go, are we keeping them long term? And if we're not, will somebody give us something in return for them? And Xavier McKinney is one of those guys. He's on an expiring deal. I don't think he's going to be worth the money he wants in a long-term deal. I really don't. I don't think he's above average. But like last year, for example, would you say he was that much better than Julian Love?
He was a little better, but I don't.
But I'm saying to the point of where you're going to pay him $10 million a year.
No,
I think he's going to want that kind of contract. I really do.
They're going to love him.
I'm like I said, I hate to go into like pure on like season's over fire sale mode, but I'm kind of there. I'm kind of there, folks, because we got the Buffalo Bills coming. Let's be honest, we're going to lose. We'll be 1-5.
We'll be watching them all circle the wagon.
1-5, guys. At that point, there's not really much coming back. I really do. So, we also got to mention the game that Kayvon Thibodeau had. Kayvon Thibodeau comes back with another sack after having 2 last week. He's got now 4 on the season. He also has the fumble recovery as well. But I'm going to point out one thing that Giant fans are going to think I'm a hater for saying it. Here's the rest of the stat line. 1 tackle, 1 assist. I'm seeing a pattern with him. And I'm not fully against the pattern if it's utilized correctly. But you know who he kind of reminds me of? And this guy's a good player, guys, when I say this. I'm not knocking him. Yannick Ngakoue. He's a good pass rusher. He doesn't set the edge and protect his lane. And he doesn't go ahead and stop the run very well. But he's a really good pass rusher. I mean, we can do very simple math here. We're 5 games in. He's got 4 sacks. So he's on pace for 13, 14 sacks in the season. Not to say he's going to do that necessarily, but that's what the pace is where he's at. Very good pass rusher so far this year. But let's look at the play rate after the sack, where he let the lane go and they were able to go ahead and run right by where he should have been because he was going for sack number 2.
Yeah.
That's like I said, it's got to be just admitted that that's what's going on. And he either has to change it or he has to be a guy you bring in on passing downs. Or we convert over to a 3-4 kind of defense and see if he works better in that kind of system there. But I just, like I said, I don't want to take away too much from Kayvon because I really do like him as a player. He's a good player. He can get to the quarterback. He makes smart decisions. You notice how quickly he hopped in that ball when that came loose. When Bobby Okereke just punched that sucker out. Was it Bobby Okereke now or Xavier McKinney? I'm second guessing myself. McKinney. It was McKinney. I think it was McKinney. If you want to look at the box score. I don't have the ESPN one. I have the Google one up, and it doesn't do a very good job of giving you that kind of info. But yeah, it's like I said, it's he was the first one to jump on it. He jumped right on it. Remember last year against the Ravens, he did the similar kind of thing as well. Jump right on it.
Yeah,
he's a smart football player, guys. This is not me saying throw him away, but we have to utilize players correctly as part of what you have to do as when you're coaching, when you're setting up a team. I'm just not so sure he's good in all assets. He's a great pass rusher. I just think he's not the best against the run. And I think that has to be established to be fact or not fact so we can utilize him correctly going forward.
Yeah, sadly, I don't think any of our players are good against the rush.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty safe to say. Yeah. They're more like, right over here, sir. Go right through this lane here.
Would you like over 200 yards in rushing into this game? Go right ahead.
We preserved your table in the end zone, sir. Oh my gosh. It's just like it's
there's a dance alley for you.
Yeah. It's getting sad when that kind of stuff happens, And if you look at the main tacklers on defense, you had 7 tackles for Isaiah Simmons, 7 tackles for McKinney. Most Isaiah Simmons was him trying to run someone down at that point. McKinney obviously is a safety. As we've always said, when a safety is your leading tackler, that means the first 2 lines of defense has failed, guys.
Yes, quite literally.
Exactly.
I mean, Okereke also. I don't want to crap on the whole thing. Okereke had a pretty good game. He had the pick. He had
no.
Punch the ball out. He had some good plays. So I don't want to crap.
No. And I'm not trying to go 100% negative on the defense because if you're going to worry about one side of the ball, it's not the defense, guys.
Yeah, no.
But
This is why I want to start. because we're saving our fucks for the second half.
But
of
I'm
the
saying
show.
some of this has to be said, though, I feel like, because I don't think it is being said. What we keep on hearing about is the disappearance of Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence up in the middle. And I don't disagree with that assessment. But I think a lot of this boils down to still coaching. Same as we'll talk about in the offense there at that point.
Yeah.
If you have young players taking bad angles like crazy, and it's a consistent thing, that makes me wonder if they're being coached right. When I'm seeing sloppy tackling all over the place, it makes me wonder if they're being coached right. You know, we're seeing bad coverage. Even look at the when Hill had the touchdown on Trey Hawkins. When they replayed it, it was pretty obvious that he was supposed to have safety help and didn't have it. That's coaching. Eventually, the coaches got to take ownership of some of the issues here going on.
Yeah, you can't just sit there and blame it all on the players when they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And
they're not. They're not, though. That's the problem. But they're supposed to be taught that.
Correct.
So, and I'm cool with Wink. I'm cool with Jerome Henderson. I'm not suggesting clear out every single thing and start from scratch like an expansion team. I'm not suggesting that. But there's clearly some issues going on. And whoever is behind the scenes enough to know what the issues are better figure it out real quick and fix it. Because I'm telling you guys, this season's going to get ugly real quick, potentially. Not that it's not already. But, guys, we're only a third of the way through. It's a whole lot more ugly to come.
There's a lot of ugly football ahead of us.
Yeah.
Luckily, our second half of the season is not as ugly. But we still have to play the Eagles twice and then Dallas in that second half stretch. So,
yeah,
it's also not great.
No, it's not. I mean, if you look at the Giants' schedule right now, you can look at it and go, do I really feel confident that we can beat any of these teams right now? The Bills, do you feel confident?
No.
If you do, whatever you're smoking, start sharing.
Especially after a tough loss this morning on the road, maybe they're just our biggest luck is maybe they just haven't readjusted to the time back, but I doubt that.
Honestly, my hope is that we go ahead and get the players healthy, and then after the Bills, we have a little bit of an easier time. Because if you look at the schedule, you got Commanders, Jets, Raiders, Cowboys, Commanders. Hypothetically, we can go 4-1 in that stretch. We're now at 5-6 after that. And I would say this, if the team is fully healthy and playing like they were last year, that's not crazy, folks. But they're not completely healthy. They're not playing last year. Now we have the injury to Daniel Jones, who had a neck injury, was out the remainder of the game. We know the issues he had in the past, this neck, with, all kinds of mystery thrown in amongst what exactly was wrong with his neck. But this is not the first neck injury. Neck injuries are no joke when it comes to football, guys. So, like I said, part of me is I keep waffling back and forth. Part of me going, well, this is just a tough stretch. And it's not wrong. This is probably the worst stretch we have all year long.
Yeah, the problems with this tough stretch is we're not playing up to our abilities of what we should be and getting blown out.
We're getting spanked. We're getting spanked, guys.
Yeah.
This is not like us going, oh, we played a good team well. No, we got our asses handed to us.
Listen, if we play close to all these games, then we lost like this to Miami, I'd be like, all right, whatever. Miami's a strong offense. But it's sad this is our second best game of the year. It's terrible.
I don't know if I'd say second best, but yeah, it's not our worst.
But maybe third.
Sure. It's not our worst. It's really not. Yeah, like I said, it's crazy. Because it's like, part of me, like I said, it's like we don't play these teams very well. We don't. These great teams, these ones that we're supposed to be getting to their level, and this was the year we're supposed to see an ascent. But at the same point, do you want to win and then get a worse draft pick? Do you want to tank? I'm kind of curious what you guys think in the comments section. Are you guys pro or anti-tanking? Because I got to say, I'm competitive as shit. I don't want to tank, but I also see the long-term benefits.
I'm not a fan of tanking. I get the long-term, but all those guys, they're a reason why they're in the NFL. They got egos. They want to do the best they can because
their
money.
Do they have egos?
They have to have egos to be there.
You know, you say that, but how many times we're seeing guys again today celebrating when they made a tackle? You're getting your butts handed to you. Don't celebrate a goddamn tackle, especially when it's a tackle 7-8 yards down the field.
Yeah, that's ridiculous there. But if you're tackling the guy behind the line of scrimmage, go ahead, get up. Because the game didn't go too out of control to to the fourth quarter, end of the third.
Yeah. No, and I'll give you that part of it there, but I'm saying I feel like every single time they do something, they're like posing for social media now. And it's partially probably being amplified by the fact that I'm just pissed. As a Giant fan, I'm pissed.
Tell me about it.
We should be. Okay. Is that a medium Coke you're drinking, by the way? Curious.
It is a Lidl knockoff Diet Coke.
All righty. Any other thoughts you want to give on the defense? You want to move on over to the really, really, really bad part?
Let's fucking get into the nitty gritty.
Let's get into it. Before we do that, let's get into our comments real quick. We do have a lot of comments here, so I don't get too far behind there. Oh yeah, of course you got to pay the bills. Connor says, "Tuck, motherfuckers, where are you? See what I did there? Replace Tick with Tuck. Justin Tuck, our defense needs you. With Tuck, motherfuckers, been too much." We started the show 15 minutes early, Connor.
Yeah.
You know, he's just used to us starting the second the game's over. And that's usually the plan there. But like I was talking before, the Giants insiders happen to have me on. So yeah, we're a little late setting up because of that. So we like going to the shows, getting other opinions. Plus it brings more of y'all in here. So
gives you time.
Connor says, "Oh good. It's veered. Beer. Hoped it wasn't urine since we're getting pissed on." Oh my god. Listen, it's like R. Kelly in the remix to Ignition over here, okay?
Pee, pee, pee. Drip, drip, drip.
Can I get a pee, pee? Can I get a drip, drip?
Do, do.
Connor says, "No reason to curse. They hung with the Dolphins who scored 70 points." Fuck that.
Yeah, fuck that. Against the Broncos. Listen.
Oh, no, we limited them to 31 points because they happened to give us the ball 3 times. Yeah. If it wasn't for those turnovers, guys, where do you think that score would be?
52?
Yeah. Exactly. So, no, fuck that. I'm not going to sit here and be happy because we at least didn't get blown out by double the score. Like it wasn't 24-3, it was 31-16. Like, no, that still sucks. Yeah. Was there any point in this game where you thought the Giants legitimately looked like an equal, if not better team than the Dolphins?
Just below equal in the first half. I was like, maybe, but the whole thing kind of went down. I got optimistic. As much as I know that we're going to lose this game, I was optimistic. I was like, oh, they're going down the field. They haven't turned the ball over.
Here's how bad it is for me. Legit. Pinnock scores that touchdown on that 102-yard interception return. Ties the franchise record for longest interception return ever, by the way. So congrats to him, I guess, on that.
Was it 1961?
Yeah, before my time, I know that.
Yeah.
And now we're down by 1 touchdown. Which is, it's like, hey, we're hanging in there. We're getting close. But again, we're in there by 1 touchdown because the defense scored a ridiculous play that you can't ever count on.
No.
I'm usually that guy, like, okay, there's a chance. I didn't have that moment. I legit was watching this game live, seeing that happen, and going, doesn't matter. We're going to lose anyway. That's how negative this team has got me into, really. And that's sad. That's like I said. Am I ever the pessimist once we lose? Yes. But during the game, I'm actually it's a little different. I'm a little optimistic then.
I didn't have that. I was like, huh. Do we have an opportunity to have a competitive game?
Apparently not, because
Yeah.
that didn't happen. So, all right. Next up, Connor says 40 million, and who knows how long he'll be out, over 500 yards against us, sacked him many times. But hey, Tibbs got a sack and Pinnock ran one back over 200 yards. Yeah. It's just not good. It's not good. Connor says Tyreek wants 2,000 yards. I think he said, well, he's getting that unless he gets injured. I mean,
he's on pace almost.
Yeah, but you can't keep up that kind of pace typically. I mean, that's
typically.
I know he's a really good player. Don't get me wrong. I know I'm not trying to take away from him. I just don't think that he's at that level. I don't think that's where they're at. I don't personally. I could be wrong.
Got over
we shall see.
Yards?
But that's not what I see happening here.
He's looking to make history.
No.
The guy's got dreams.
Okay, well, who doesn't want to make history? Got dreams of this, but he's got dreams of one last contract.
Hell yeah.
And Connor also says, guess we'll start over again. Get rid of guys for picks. It's not working. I mean, that's like I said, that's where I'm at. And I'm not saying long-term pieces. I'm not saying not that we could cap-wise, but a guy like Andrew Thomas, for example. I'm not saying to get rid of him because he's a guy who's young, under contract, very good. But if you're going to have a guy an expiring deal that you're not going to keep, you might as well go ahead and get a pick for him. Unless the pick is so low that you think you can get a better comp pick if you lose him in free agency, because that is part of the equation, obviously. Beef says, you better worry more about the offensive line. We already got our quarterback killed. Yeah, we're going to get into that one there. We're going to get into that one. Don't worry. There'll be a rant on that. Deb says, the only coach I still have confidence in to date is Wink. I still trust Dable. Maybe I'm crazy.
Same.
I still trust Dable. I'm not giving up on Dable. I don't think you go from being a really good coach like he was last year to being an absolute crap coach overnight. I don't think that. I think he's got some assistants he's got to get rid of and shuffle some things. Connor says, a minute behind connection issue. I'm Roberto Jr. Carrick, they forced the fumble. That's what I thought in the beginning. I was brain farting there. Connor says, hello, number one pick.
Hello,
Deb says,
darkness, can you hear me?
hello, number one pick. It's time to get a quarterback. One that knows how to throw the ball.
Under pressure.
Deb says, Jones, Taylor, not much difference. I don't want to go that bad on Daniel Jones. I still think Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than Taylor.
I mean, he left, in the third, beginning of the fourth?
Yeah.
Yeah, but 119 yards in the day so far with the run-in that got us just barely over about 60 yards, just shy of 70. Taylor had 86 on the day. So
yeah, but Taylor also played at the end when the Dolphins defense gave up.
Yeah.
They didn't care. That's not a genuine assessment there.
I'm just saying,
if Jones is injured next week, hypothetically, and Tyrod Taylor comes out and looks much better, that's when you'd have an issue. But I don't see it because Tyrod Taylor's looked bad in the preseason games and stuff, and the regular season games we've had him in the last couple of years. I just don't think he's that good anymore. I think he's still a decent backup.
Yes, there's a reason he's the backup. He's not starting somewhere. There's a reason why Dobbs is starting over Tyler Taylor.
Yeah. All right. Connor says, Caleb or offensive line? I say offensive line. Listen, you get the chance to get who you think is a can't-miss quarterback, then you go that quarterback all day long. Jerry Cone. As bad as they play, we won't win a game. Again, I do think part of this still is the competition we're facing. I really do.
Yeah.
We're facing a really good team to start. Whoever made the schedule for the Giants clearly hates us. I don't know if Jerry Jones had to say or
yeah,
but that's where we're at, guys. But again, if you can't beat the good teams, that tells you you're not
a good team.
So, we can complain about the schedule all we want, but in the end, that's what it is. Deb says, I would love to see what one of the elite quarterbacks would have done in these games with no offensive line. I still say a good quarterback helps out the O-line. They go hand in hand. 100%. 100%. I mean, Joe Burrow is a classic example. I mean, granted, he's done crap because he's injured at the first couple of weeks of the season here. But, guys, Joe Burrow has had one of the worst offensive lines his entire career. His entire career. Yet he throws as many touchdowns as DJ does in 2 seasons.
Yeah.
He's look at a guy like CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud, for those who don't follow right now, because I know Texans is not a team that most people watch like a hawk. Okay. So
CJ had a good game.
Not only that, he's had a good game pretty much every single week. And they've had Tunstall's been out for most of the season here, who's been like their version of Andrew Thomas. Their right tackle is on IR right now. They put their guard Green that he got in the first round of the NFL draft last year. That looked pretty good last year. He's also on IR. So you're talking 3 out of 5 offensive linemen. Sound familiar, guys? But you know what they're still doing? They're still running an offense. CJ Stroud's still putting up yards and points.
What's the record?
You cannot win in this league if you don't have a quarterback. You may get away with it for a little while, like the Titans did with Tannehill. But you'll never win a Super Bowl. You'll never go far in the playoffs without a good quarterback. I don't think we have it, guys. I don't. And like I said, no one will root for Daniel Jones more than I will, because he's a Giant, because he does everything behind the scenes you want him to do as far as working out, being a leader with the players, team, stuff like that. Everything you see about him. And because of the fact that he puts it all on the line in the field. How many hits you see this man take?
Oh, he looks like someone should have called Dyfus.
I want him to succeed. But he can't.
Although he did slide today, very smartly slid, which he's been taking all these crazy hits. I think he was looking for a roughing the passer after the slide. I think he was trying to set that up, but it's just like I can't. Like I said, I feel bad saying it because I want the man to succeed, but he just doesn't have that it factor. It's 5 years now of losing with him. Winning quarterbacks find a way to win regardless of the scenario. 4 years of losing. He had a winning record last year.
1 year.
Just saying.
Let's look at his 5-year record. Do you want me to look at his record as a starter?
No, quite fine. He has plenty of losses.
Yeah, thank you. You see my point I'm making now. So yes, if every single thing is right around him, he can do decent.
It's amazing that we got him more weapons this year, and he just can't make it work.
No. I mean, and again, I know people are going to point out the offensive line. Don't get me wrong. Again, the offensive line is a massive issue, but you still have to find a way to get it done. And so I just put in Daniel Jones' record as a starter. Stat Muse, the first thing that pops up. So I don't know if this is including this year or not. 22, 34, and 1. Not good, guys. Not good. It's time to move on. See, John, there he is. You were asking where he was before. He says, I know Daniel was going to get hurt. I foresaw it somehow. Johnny Damas. Crazy. Everyone's hurt. And he says, who's Tua's backup? Tyreek better hope he can play because Tua is bound to get hurt.
Is it Bridgewater still?
No, actually, it's Mike White. Remember last year from the Jets?
That's right.
That's who their backup is. John says, Dable wanted Chargers job, I heard. I didn't know about that. I feel like that's not what he wanted at all. He wanted to work with Joe Shane from the get-go. That's everything I heard.
Yeah, same.
Deb says, reminds me of Fossil from Coach of the Year to Squat. Again, I feel like there's something going on behind the scenes that we don't know of. I really do. And it'll probably come out in a couple of years. Same as came out with things with Fossil, but I feel like something's going to come out. John says, how about Shadir Sanders as our QB? Listen, I haven't done much research yet on the college quarterbacks. I'll tell you this, guys. Expect it coming from us. Because if this continues, we've already talked about it. Rob and I, about doing some work on some of the quarterbacks in this draft because it's time, guys. It is time. The full horsemen are drawing nigh. Yeah. We also talked about, and I put it out on Twitter. I didn't hear Rob's thoughts on there. I'm just kind of speaking for both of us, like usual.
It's like a marriage.
Yeah, I said, I put out there the idea of Hendon Hooker even. I mean, Jared Goff's looked very good. The Detroit Lions don't need Hendon Hooker. They gave a 3rd-round pick. So if the Detroit Lions go to you and say, hey, would you go ahead and give a 2nd-round pick for Hendon Hooker?
Yeah, what's amazing is because no one out there, even the Lions, didn't see Goff being a top 5 quarterback this year.
The Rams look foolish. I guess they're not because they won the Super Bowl still, but
I was about to say.
But I mean, who's to say that Jared Goff wouldn't have done it? McVay seems to kind of given up on him a little quickly.
Yeah, he picks his guys, and that's it.
Yeah, kind of ironic after we're talking about giving up on Jones. Like he gave up way too early. It's been 5 years. God damn it! Tired of losing.
At least they were winning with the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're gonna have to have that discussion and do some scouting for you guys on some quarterbacks and all, because there's a lot of quarterbacks in this draft. But like I said, to me, when you're scouting these quarterbacks, we have to look at Hendon Hooker alongside of them and go, okay, what's available, and is Hooker better than these guys? Can we get Hooker for less than what we can for one of these guys? Especially because, we'll get this in the offense a minute ago, but Jalen Hyatt has been just disappeared entirely from this offense. You think Hendon Hooker would disappear with him? Nope. Definitely not. Got that Hooker Hyatt combo again, just like when they destroyed Alabama. See, John says, so Drew, keeping Daniel Jones, you're saying there's a chance. The chance he win 9 or 10 games and get killed in the 1st or 2nd round of the playoffs, sure. Deb says this draft is supposed to be rich in QBs. Yeah, that's everything you hear. But the funny thing is, I don't know about you guys, maybe it's just me. I feel like every single year the draft comes around, like, there's a couple of good quarterbacks, but it's not that rich in the draft. But next year, that's going to be the year. And then the next year comes around. Well, there's a couple good quarterbacks, but there's not that many. Next year, the huge crop of quarterbacks coming out. Every single goddamn year, that's what they do to us.
That's what it feels like. Definitely what it feels like.
We'll see what's out there. But yes, they're talking positive about this year's group of quarterbacks. But we'll see what happens when draft time comes around and they start going, well, there's a couple of quarterbacks. John says, heard Mara is the problem, not letting Shane and Dable do it their way. I haven't heard that personally, but at the same point, it wouldn't surprise me. But what is Mara doing that could meddle at this point? It's not like he's like forcing them to make trades or something crazy. If they made some kind of weird, drastic move, I'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, there's John Mara doing it. What did he do? Move the foosball table back into the locker room? I mean, really, like, what is John Mara doing at this point when the season's going on? John says, and Dion, our new coach with Shadir. Again, I'm not ready to give up on Dable. I'm not. And I think that it's something that at the end of the year you have to evaluate, obviously, as you do evaluate every single employee on the team there, But yeah, it's like I said, something that we'll have to take a look at. John says, I love a good hooker. Somehow that doesn't surprise me. Deb says, I forgot about Hendon Hooker. Interesting. Yeah, like I said, I liked him a lot coming out, and I really think that if it wasn't for the injury, I think that he would have been potentially a guy that would have been like a 1st-round pick. So, we'll have to see. We will have to see there overall. John says Chicago got Brian Burns, I heard. And yeah, and what's interesting on that thing is the Bears have a ton of picks here because of trading with the Panthers. And here they go, giving up some picks now at that point there. So that's what I'm seeing. What's weird is I'm seeing it on heavy.com. And I'm not seeing it everywhere, though. You know what? No, This is not a done deal. Heavy.com said it 2 days ago, but no, but as if it's going to be a done deal, but it's not. He's still playing for the Panthers, guys. So we'll have to see. But the Bears, they said, are very interested in him, and the Bears, if they want him, they'll go get him. But honestly, if I'm on the Bears, I'm building to the draft. Build to the draft, guys. It's the right way to do it. Same as I'm talking about doing a fire sale now with our team. You build through the draft. Point blank. Beef says every year they talk about college quarterbacks. That's what they are, college quarterbacks. Pros are totally different. Well, yeah, but problem is pro quarterbacks that are really good don't go on the market very often. They really don't. I mean, if you want to even look at this year, I can try to find that up and see who we got as possible free agents here. But I don't think you're going to see a big name here coming up on this, whatsoever. It's not something you see on a regular basis.
Let's go get Mariota.
Oh yeah, Marcus Mariota. That's the answer.
Yeah.
And then John says, "See, girls like hookers too." Oh
jeez.
So yeah, I mean,
gigolos.
I just don't know what we're hoping to find otherwise. To me, that's the only option, is to go to the draft and hope for the best and hope we actually hit on one. Maybe bring in Ernie Accorsi or something like that to help us out or something. I mean, unless you're going to go out and get a guy like a Kirk Cousins. Do you want Kirk Cousins at 35 years old? Do we want Ryan Tannehill at 35 years old?
No.
That's your options, guys. If you look at the rest of the guys that are available, I'll give you the list. I got it up right now. Kirk Cousins, Ryan Tannehill, Jacoby Brissett, Tyrod Taylor, our current backup, Marcus Mariota, Sam Darnold, Jameis Winston, Drew Lock, Baker Mayfield, Gardner Minshew, Teddy Bridgewater, Tyler Huntley. I mean, that's not a very good list here of people that are available as expected. Good quarterbacks don't come up, guys. I mean, if you want to talk about who I would take at least, then we'll hear your thoughts, Rob, as well. I would take Kirk Cousins on a short-term deal, but he's going to want more money than I want to give him. I would take Jacoby Brissett as a possible bridge quarterback if I was getting a young quarterback. But the only guys that I would legitimately try as a potential starter, if I can't get a good guy in the draft, is Baker Mayfield and Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have high expectations of those guys.
No, I don't see it with Baker. Like, yeah, he wins some games, but he falls off second half all the time. Minshew is
you have
by
that
far,
look like you just went to a seafood buffet and something got left out way too long.
Yeah. And then Minshew, like, I love the guy. Dude's got a great stash. But he's a fantastic backup quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he is. And that's that's what you get in the offseason. You get great backups. You don't get, star quarterbacks. Even look at the guys who were free agents that were star quarterbacks, later on. They weren't stars when they were free agents. Guys like Drew Brees, who was coming off, major injury and wasn't even the darling of that class. It was, Dante Culpepper, who was the big name coming out of that class. Look at a guy like Kurt Warner. That's because he failed with the Rams, then didn't do too much with us. That's why the Cardinals got him so cheap. It doesn't happen often, guys. All right, let's talk about the offense, though. We're 49 minutes in here, guys. We haven't even talked about the offense. Which I'm cool. Listen, it's an early game. We got all the time in the world now. We're not used to not having a primetime game now and trying to get out by midnight. So let's get it all going.
5 hours for work.
So yeah, it's like whew.
The one plus
the big thing is the offensive line.
Yes.
Oh, go for it.
I was going to say a positive before we went to the negatives.
You give us a plus. I want positive news.
The unicorn showed up like a horse today. Darren Waller had 86 yards on the day, 8 catches, 10.8 yards per reception on average.
That's part of the offense. You're going into the offense. You're like, hold on. Before we get the offense, let me talk about an offense.
Offensive line. Before we get into the negative, I was saying, I just want to say that Waller had a good game. That's it. Let's move on.
Listen, here's my problem. We'll start off with the Waller then. Here's my only problem with Waller. And as far as having that, yes, 8 catches, 86 yards. But you know what I'm going to remember this game? How he missed that touchdown. And I get it. Xavier Howard had a hand on it. But he didn't get a hand. He got like the tip of a finger on it. You're paid as the top tight end in this league, basically. He's getting paid like $15-16 million a year. If you're an elite tight end, you have to make that catch. You have to.
Kelsey, Andrews, Higbee, Hickerson, they would have made that catch.
Exactly. And you know what would have been absolutely amazing is that makes a huge difference on this game.
Oh,
and not just on the end result, because listen, we still would have lost the game if you wanted to add 7 points onto this. At that point, we would have lost it by one
Giants
score.
would have beat the spread.
But but in the end, the big thing is that it may have changed the whole entire outlook for the game at that point. You know,
momentum.
We get that touchdown, we give the ball back to the Dolphins. That after that is when they had we have the 102-yard interception. So that's a big difference, guys, in how this second half might have started. So, like I said, to me, and I'm not trying to lambast and kill the guy on one play, but I do think that in the end, that had to be made, that play. And that play could have very well changed the outcome of this game because it could have changed everything. If you're telling me that Darren Waller gets an end zone, spot there and gets that touchdown, and then we return an interception for a touchdown, if you don't think that changes the mindset of the Dolphins,
and the Giants themselves.
Yeah, that's a huge momentum builder for the Giants and a huge crushing blow to the Dolphins. So, again, we might not have won the game still. I'm not saying it makes that kind of change. We probably still would have lost just because the Dolphins are the better team. But it's a play he should have made. But otherwise, yeah, where's this been all goddamn year? 8 catches, 86 yards. That's the Darren Waller I thought we're getting. This is maybe as we can take this as a sliver of hope that, like you're saying, that like the Giants are finally going to include him as a top flight receiver because they haven't been doing that.
I mean, he had more yards than Slayton, Campbell, and Hodgins put together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he had like a third of the receiving yards for himself.
Yeah, that's what I said. A total
if
yards.
You're a top flight receiver, you should be. That's where he should be. All right, now do you want to blast the offensive line?
Yes, let's blast them. What the fuck?
You know what? Honestly, I gotta say, I don't want to even blast them that much. I really don't. I mean, if you're told me before, like, let's say just randomly in the off season, you and I are talking, like, I'm going to give you a scenario. John Michael Schmitz gets hurt. He's out. Andrew Thomas gets hurt. He's out. Shea Lemieux gets hurt. He's out. Shocker.
Yeah.
Evan Neal
sucks.
Doesn't progress like we're hoping at all. Because keep in mind, we said all off season. This season will basically be determined by Evan Neal playing well or not. So, if I had told you that's what happens, would you have had high hopes for the offense?
No.
Our offense sucks without offensive line. We can't get a running game going. We can't get a passing game going. But, and again, I'm gonna get her for saying this. I know somebody's gonna come in here and be a DJ lover and go, "Oh, DJ, why do you hate DJ so much?" I don't hate DJ, but I felt like there was key plays where instead of throwing it to the receiver in stride, throwing it to the receiver at least up higher, it's like he was throwing for his shoes.
Yeah, who was that too? Wandale?
There was a couple of plays like that.
There was a really bad one, which could have been a first down for the Giants in the third quarter, where It was just like it was right at his shins instead of his numbers. Wandell, if you would have hit the numbers, he definitely would have got like 10 more yak yards.
Yeah.
He was that open.
Guys, this is the difference between a good quarterback and a bad quarterback. And it wasn't a pass rush issue. And I get it, the pass rush was there. Don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not trying to negate that and say that he should be an all-pro level quarterback with this team. He shouldn't. But he shouldn't look as bad as he has. And he played the efficiency game this week, and that made his stats look a little better. 14 of 20, 119 yards. But, guys, do the math on that. What's the yards per catch there?
That's terrible.
That's bad.
You also had Slane going out of balance on that one catch, which was like 25 yards.
Yeah.
30 yards. That would have been a game changer.
Had Paris Campbell falling in another one randomly. Nobody even touched him. He just slipped. Must have been a cleat issue. I'm just saying. I guess I said I think the offensive line was crap. Don't get me wrong. And when Ben Bredesen gets hurt during the game, I'm like, oh my God, they're bringing in a guy that we don't even have a scouting report on.
Yeah.
Called up for the practice squad at that point, got a guy like yeah.
Did you hear what happened? Like I know they took him to the tent. Looked like did I see blood coming out of his mouth?
So I definitely saw blood coming from his head face area there. I also saw that it was something called from above. It wasn't him. It wasn't the Giants. This was the NFL saying, okay, check him out. So, yeah. I mean, like I said, he was back in with no problem. So I'm not worried about it too much long term here. But like I said, it made me hold my breath. Like, oh my God, we're gonna lose Ben Bredesen too, the second or third best offensive line we have. I mean, guys, there are 3 offensive linemen that I trust right now on this team. This whole team, 3. Andrew Thomas, crazy as it sounds, John Michael Schmitz, and Ben Bredesen.
So
That's the 3 I trust. Don't get me wrong, Ben Bredesen, in all frankness, should be your top backup.
Yeah.
That's where he should be on a legit offensive line. But goddamn. To lose all of those guys. The Chiefs,
he would be the number 1 backup.
Like I said, I think most teams would take him as the first guy coming off the bench. And he'd be very good at that role. But, yeah, it's just offensive line, guys. It's bad. It's bad. And Evan Neal, what the well, oh, yeah, we can curse. I forgot we said we're cursing. So, what the fuck?
Yeah, we gave the warning out, but we really haven't cursed that much. So,
yeah, we really haven't.
Fuck.
It's not as bad a game as the Dallas or the Seahawks game. But, like, there's that one play, and I think everybody already knows where I'm going, where he had the defensive end go right past him. He just glanced over as if to say hi to him and just let him go right to Daniel Jones.
Yeah. He goes, he must be a sheep.
Pardon me, sir. Do you need directions to our quarterback?
Yeah.
What you want to do is go about
on your way.
2 yards over. You want to hang to the right. It's like, what the hell, guys?
Put your arms up. He likes to throw.
It's one thing if he just missed him and didn't see him, which, don't get me wrong, that's still goddamn embarrassing. He just let him go right the hell by. Right the hell by him. Like, as if he wasn't going to go hit the quarterback. Like, I don't know if, like, Daniel Jones owes Evan Neal some money or something. Like, he's like, I'll get this asshole back. Not paying me back that $20 I lent him for some pierogies. I don't know why I'm picking pierogies randomly, but pierogies sound good. Yes.
Yeah.
There's actually a place here that just sells pierogies. That's all they do is a restaurant. I actually want to try it out, but I haven't done it yet. Anyway. But yeah, it's like, here's a guy who talks shit about the fans this week. How we're all flipping burgers. You know? Flipping burgers and hot dogs and putting fries in their baskets. That's what he was basically insinuating. Which, first off, don't demean fast food workers. Those people work their freaking asses off.
Yeah.
Work their asses off, point blank. So, but, yeah, like, here's a guy saying that, trying to, like, clap back at the fans that are booing and stuff like that. And this is how you play? You wonder why we're booing you? Wonder why.
Hmm.
Wonder why. Like, seriously.
Yeah, jackass.
And, you know, Pugh didn't come up into this game at all. I think that I wonder if he's going to come up next week. And I wonder if he's able to play right tackle. And the main reason I say that, and I don't want to, again, I'm not trying to give up on him entirely. But I wonder if he's able to play right tackle. Do we at some point experiment with Evan Neal at guard? Because the whispers were out there last year. The whispers are becoming talks now. And eventually they're going to be yelling because he sucks at right tackle. Absolutely sucks at right tackle.
Spam alert. Yeah, he's been god awful.
Oh, we got a spammer in the episode here. Spammer. Yeah. So we're gonna just go ahead and delete those comments. Actually, we'll put the user in timeout. What the hell? Let's put him in timeout. He got put in timeout. Spam alert. Sir Spam lots over there. But yeah. I think that it comes to the point where we have to have that discussion because we talk about Eric Flowers as being one of the worst busts in Giants history. And let's be honest, he was. But that was as much the Giants' fault as it was Eric Flowers because he should have been moved to the guard position. And I know I was yelling about that just as a Giant fan. This is obviously years before you and I were doing this podcast. I was yelling about it forever. I know
it was almost a joke we had saying,
I know
Flowers.
Yeah. And I know Pat Train has talked about this on her show and all with the Lockdown Giants and all as well, that she questioned why they never moved him over to guard. Well, he went over to DC and Miami and was a good guard for a few years with them. You know, got a big contract even out of it because that's how good he played. And yet we had this guy sitting around as if he was shit. He wasn't shit. He was shit where he was. He wasn't shit overall.
Yeah.
And I'm worried that's going to happen with Evan Neal. Got to move him inside. At one point, if he doesn't start getting better, you have to move him inside and go, this is not working. But you have to have the guy to replace him. That's part of the problem. We don't have the guy to replace him. Do you want to put Josh Azudu there?
No.
Matt Pert? Now, if Justin Pugh is healthy, I honestly think that's an interesting idea. But again, we haven't even seen him play, in a little while because Arizona was his last stop, obviously, and he had the ACL tear, so he was out for about a year now. So we'll have to see what he's got and what he's got health-wise there and ability-wise. But like I said, I think Justin Pugh having a savvy veteran at that right tackle position, because you think Justin Pugh would have let that guy walk past him?
Probably not.
Fuck no. He would have tackled his ass and taken the flag to avoid his quarterback getting hurt, because that's the mentality you're supposed to have as a goddamn offensive lineman.
100%.
You're supposed to be a guardian by nature. You're supposed to be the guy who wants to keep your guy in his uniform as clean as possible. That's a lack of pride, man. Point blank. That's a lack of pride. So, like I said, we'll have to see what happens long term with Evan Neal. But that to me is I really want to see him moving into the inside if he doesn't improve, and see what he does at guard, because we need to know we have in him next year. Because he's going to be a Giant next year no matter what, guys. With that contract, he's going to be a Giant next year no matter what. But we need to know, is he a backup? Or is he a guy that we maybe even look to trade and move on from? Or is he a guy that we can try at guard and give him a year or two to see how he develops overall? Because right now, he's a guy that's going to get about a $6.7 million cap number next year. And yeah, it's not going to be pretty, guys. We're going to lose a lot more if we cut him. He is guaranteed to be a Giant for at least 2 more years after this, guys. So we have to either find a spot for him,
or just pay this guy for
or
nothing.
sit him on the bench, or sit him on the bench and pay him for nothing, because that's where we're at. I'm even looking at trading him over the cap and everything. We can't do it. So if we cut him this year, we have $7.8 million that we lose in the cap. because he's a $14.5 million cap hit if we cut him. Now, in 2025, we can cut him for nothing and just break even if it's that bad. Or we can do even a post-June 1st one and, split $3.5 million over the 2 seasons. But, guys, he's going to be a Giant for a little while. We need to know what he is. We know what he isn't. He's not a right tackle.
No.
He's not a right tackle.
Shown that he is. Yeah, no.
He is not that. Yeah, he's about as right tackle as I am at this point. I might as well be out there. Pay me the $6 million. I'll do it for $1 million, guys. $1 million.
1 million.
But yeah, so the rest of it, like I said, when you have these injuries, it is what it is. But I'm telling you guys, Bobby Johnson's got to go.
Yeah.
Got to go. How many other teams do we see out there having issues? We talked about C.J. Stroud, the Texans, their injury issues, and their line's getting it done.
I mean, look at last week. Look what happened with Seattle.
Yeah. How many injuries they got? When do you ever think we'd be jealous of a team having Geno? Yeah. Just saying.
Kind of that's the worst part.
But, I mean, at one point, like I said, we've got so many top draft picks invested in this offensive line. We got Azuto was a 3rd round pick, though I still think we drafted him way too early, but we did draft Azuto in the 3rd round. We have JMS now, 2nd round pick. We have Evan Neal and Andrew Thomas, both 1st round picks. We're put draft capital into it. So eventually, it's like a bad relationship at that point when you keep having bad relationship after bad relationship, and you got to say, maybe it's me.
Maybe I was the psycho.
That's what the Giants have to do. Maybe it's me. What are we doing wrong? Why are we not developing these guys? Why is Andrew Thomas the only one who succeeded? And who, quite frankly, like absolute shit the first year he played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are some questions that need some answers.
We need some internal introspection. Is that the word I'm looking for? Is that the word? Introspection?
Something like that.
What's that fancy SAT word when you look inside yourself? That's an SAT word all day long.
Introspection.
But yeah, that's it. That's it. Like I said, we gotta look at it because we can't keep playing this way. And I really think, and it's hard to make a decision like that and make a switch mid-year. Don't get me wrong. But what kind of notice are you giving the players here when you get on them for a bad move and you're throwing tablets around, but you're keeping around shitty coaches that can't do a job? You have to have accountability all across the board. We don't have that. Flat out, we don't have it. The accountability is not there, and it's got to get there. So, can we talk about some MIAs?
Sure.
MIAs, missing in action. Jalen Hyatt, where the fuck are you? And I don't mean that towards Jalen Hyatt. I mean it towards Brian Dable, for the record.
Yes.
He's not even on the field. You don't even see him. You don't even see him. Put him on the field. Hope for the best, because you hear that car in the background? That's not a car. That's Jalen Hyatt leaving the stadium.
Listen,
because he's got that much energy.
They were all talking about how fast Waddle, A-Chain, and Hill are. They're showing the speeds. Throw it to Hyatt. Let's see how fast he goes.
That's what I was thinking. Like, damn, like we got Paris Campbell, we got Jalen Hyatt, we got fast guys. Wasn't that we talked about all off season? We got some speed now. Yeah,
how come we should have threw it to Hyatt downfield?
We should have even done screens and trick plays and stuff like that with these guys. Get them in the open field and see what they can do.
I've been preaching about that all off season, the beginning of the year. I'm tired of saying the same thing, so I didn't bring it up.
Frustrating. It's all shit. It's like, and I have a second guy for MIA that rarely ever sees the field at all, but for whatever reason, still has an impact when he does, and that's Sterling Shepard. Why is Sterling Shepard not on the field more?
That's a good question. He had that one reliable first down toss. And that was it. He was out there for, 3 snaps?
Yeah. I didn't see him very often. And whenever I do see him, he does pop up good. So Here we go. So I don't have the statistics yet for this week. So he played in 7% of the snaps against the Seahawks, 4% against the 49ers, 15% against the Cardinals, and 20% against the Cowboys. That's it. 2 catches, 10 yards in the season before this game. I think he had just, like you said, I think he just had the one catch this game here.
1 for 13.
So, yeah. So 3 catches for 23 yards on the season. I'm sorry, but this is a veteran guy who has still shown he can get it done because he's getting open in big times. That's when they're putting him in. And you notice it's bigger, like third downs and stuff like that. And he's getting it done. He's a guy who has a lot of rapport with Daniel Jones because they've both been on the team together for the 5 years. He needs to be on the field more often. Point blank.
100%.
Needs to be. I would take him over Paris Campbell.
Yes. I understand you want to get these young guys, your new weapons in here, the guys you brought in. But if it's not broke, don't fix it. You know, Shep and DJ, they have a connection. Let them ride.
Let it go. What did he say? Let's ride.
I said let it ride. I didn't say let's ride.
Okay. I got worried there for a second. Don't you go on Russell Wilson on me.
Russell Wilson threw a touchdown pass already.
Yeah. That's one more than Daniel Jones threw today. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Broncos are up.
All right.
10-8. Damn.
Yeah. Well, it's early.
They got plenty of time to mess up that game.
Don't you worry.
Which team?
All righty. Let's pay the bills real quick. We didn't do that. Now let's get back to some of these comments here.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
Oh, yeah. Rob made it back just in time. I see him sneak off into the drink while we're doing it. He's like, this game is so bad. I need a second Diet Coke.
Oh, seltzer water now. Don't want too much aspartame.
Is it a Bubbly?
It's a rip-off Bubbly.
Bubbly. It's orange. Ooh. Is that the orange cream one?
No, but it does kind of have an orange cream flavor to it. But.
Yeah, there's one brand. I think it's called Polar or something like that. They sell it at Winn-Dixie. Obviously, you guys don't have Winn-Dixie up there, but I'm sure they sell it up there as well. They do an Irish. I wish they did Irish cream, an orange cream one that's pretty good. But it's got to be cold to be good. It's one of those. The flavor comes out for some reason when it's cold. I don't know why. Yeah. Anyway,
aspartame tastes better when it's cold.
Okay, I don't know. But yeah, look going forward here. Here's what I'm looking at. Let's see if you're on the same page. I want a press conference tomorrow with Bobby Johnson and Thomas McGahee both fired. Point blank. Message has to be sent. We talked about this last week. I'm going to keep on calling for it until it happens.
We could fire one at a time. We don't have to do both.
Both gone. Off with your head.
Off with the head.
Like I said, I hate to say this kind of stuff, but it's got to be done. It's got to be done, guys. Like yeah. And the other thing I want is I want to see the health updates because Daniel Jones is the big one. Yeah. Listen, I'm not a fan of Daniel Jones going forward, but for the rest of this season, I shouldn't even say it that way. I'm not a fan of us keeping him as our starting quarterback going forward after this season. I should word it that way. Like I said, I will never be that fan that roots against a player that's on our team. I hope he balls out the rest of the season, proves me wrong, and I look stupid. Point blank. I'll be happy. I will be freaking happy. I just don't see it happening. But I want to see the health of him. I want to see the health of Andrew Thomas, Saquon Barkley, JMS. We got to get these players back, guys. If you notice, the offense is struggling, but where are all the injuries on? They're on offense. We're missing our stud running back. We're missing our stud left tackle. We're missing our rookie center, who's looked very good so far. We're missing a lot of players here on that offensive side of the ball. So, maybe we go from being the worst team scoring ever to being, whoa, look at this. That's it. He's done. We got a spam alert back again.
Get out of here.
Bam! We got so spam a lot over here. We're getting spammed over here.
So much spam. I'm making a
Spam
sandwich.
spam. It's like Hawaii. But yeah, we have, we have to go ahead and get this offense at least going to be a below average. Not the worst of the league, but a below average. If we have any hopes of pulling anything out to not just be completely embarrassed for this entire season. So we need the players back. So I want to see the coaches fired, get a little spunk in the players here, get a little spark going here, get them to realize everybody's held accountable. And I want to see, like I said, I want to see what happens with these offensive players going forward, because if we're going to have any chance against Buffalo, we need some of these players back. Need them.
Yeah.
And honestly, I want to win this game coming up for Dable.
I would love to see the upset in this game.
Yes. Don't get me wrong. I want to win every game. But it's like this has a special meaning for Shane and Dable.
Yeah.
It really does. It's kind of like when we beat Baltimore for Wink last year.
Yes. And
Don't tell me Wink didn't love that. Wink was happy.
He was like,
I saw one corner of his mouth start to smile.
just a little bit.
It's so funny how in the press conferences he's always like the happiest guy in the world, and then like during the game, he's like, turns like Belichickian on us. But yeah,
He's always got a snout. Yeah, you're right.
Right?
If he smiles, he looks like he just saw an airboat. Ooh.
All right. Any final thoughts that you want to give, Rob?
No, I mean, we pretty much hit it in the head. Like, we need updates on our players because they're all hurt.
Yeah.
We need our players to step up. Like you said, Hyde's not in there. Wandell has come back. He's looking pretty good. He wasn't that excited in this game. He had some negative, plays. But he's been productive, which I like to see. I want to see more of this. Although I would like to see Hyde in there as well. But other than that, like, our special teams was mediocre. Gano was 3 for 4, but they asked him to do what did he miss? The 54-yard?
The 55-yarder, which was a barely miss. I'm not upset about that one.
No.
I'm more upset that it was 55 yards because of, the offensive line not doing their job again and Daniel Jones getting sacked.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty much what we expected this game. I actually almost called the points, too. I think I said 33-10, 30-10.
Yeah. Yeah, this is basically what we expected. Which we didn't expect how it would happen. So
no.
All right, let's get to the last batch of comments here. So let's see here. Let's see. Here we go. John says maybe we can coach Magic Fitzpatrick out of retirement. No, we can't, and I don't want him. I'm good. Deb says, is Archie Manning out of high school yet? He is. He is a freshman in Texas right now. He's not even starting for them. But my understanding, they have a decent starting quarterback is why. So, probably next year I'll start seeing him in college. John says, Roberto, the light shining on your nose makes you look like Rudolph the bright white-nosed reindeer. Oh, my.
Too bad at Christmas we're playing the Eagles. I will not be saving Christmas.
John says, I can't stop laughing at your nose like it's blinking, rolling on the floor laughing. The Rumbler says, would like to see Lou Sassel in defense next year from M State. I got to be honest and say that I don't really know this Lou Sassel thing. I'm even Googling and nothing's coming up. So I'm not sure what. If somebody knows what that is, or if the Rumbler there, if you're still there, let us know. Real E Hood says, let's go Giants. They're going somewhere, down the toilet bowl.
Sally.
He says, I like a 2 quarterback game. Maybe Jones off the bench once in a while. The only reason I would be okay with that is if they were pulling more experience for DeVito. I don't think Tyrod Taylor is the answer. Not that I think DeVito is the answer either. But if you give him some time actually playing, you at least have a better idea of what he is overall, So we'll have to see what happens there. But I think just bringing him up for mop-up duty kind of like you did with Taylor. Obviously, they brought Taylor in because Jones got hurt. But a mop-up duty kind of role for DeVito would be nice to get him some time. Which is sad because I'm already anticipating mop-up duty. Really, Hood also says good showing, 100%, 70. I guess we got less than 70. Okay. John says, I love pierogies. If I can't have fresh, I get Mrs. T's pierogies at Walmart. And we just like to say that Mrs. T's, if you're interested in a sponsorship, you can email us at 2giantgoofballs@mail.com. Pierogies are really good. John says, I wonder how Geno Smith would have did if he had a better shot at being our quarterback. I'm going to say crap and crap and crap, because I think the only reason he got good is because I think that he basically got older, just wised up, got more mature.
Yeah, not going to punch in the locker room.
Pete Carroll probably didn't hurt that. Sal says, well, how about max protect so you don't get to know the quarterback kill? Yeah. Listen, the problem with max protect is two things. It's like if you're surrounded by poop, adding more poop to the problem is not going to fix the situation. Because keep in mind, when you're going to max protect, you're taking away offensive weapons for him to throw to in the process.
Yeah.
So let's say you add another offensive lineman. Okay. Well, now you have one less receiver. Let's say you put two players in the backfield to block. Well, the problem comes into be is Matt Breda can block, and Eric Gray doesn't really know the NFL blocking. And whenever Saquon comes back, it's never really been his forte either.
Yeah, and I think last week we're the highest max protection offense we set up. I think it was 16% of the snaps were max protection.
I mean, they're doing it. It's just a matter of they're not doing it like what Seattle was doing. I think that's what he's more referring to. They're getting creative with their with their blockers and their schemes and stuff like that. But even look at the tight end position. You got Daniel Bellinger, who's a really good blocker. Waller sucks as a blocker. Cager sucks as a blocker.
Oh, did you see Gray's block, by the way? It was like David and Goliath.
Yeah, he's not good. Like I said.
Well, he was our best rusher today.
That's not saying much.
No, with what,
and
25
it's funny
yards?
I saw people after the first quarter talking about Eric Gray going, look, Eric Gray did something. He's so good. So good. Yeah, Eric Gray ended up with 12 carries, 25 yards today, guys.
Yep, DJ, 24, and then Breda, 21? Yeah.
It doesn't take a genius to do the math on his yards per carry. At 12 for 25. John says, new coach, same boring offensive plays. Yeah. He says, must be nice to get paid a lot if not show you deserve it. Thanks for the easy money. Yeah, listen, that's what happens when you get drafted, the top 7th overall pick there. John says, please get a new voice for cupofcoffee.com. Maybe Mr. T. I pity the fool who don't give me your money, sucker. John, why do you hate the voice so much? Yeah, sucker, not sucker, by the way. Why do you hate the voice so much? Listen, he's a nice voice. He has feelings too. The AI does. John says, heard San Fran wants Daniel Jones. I don't know where you heard that from.
Yeah, I
don't think anybody wants Daniel Jones.
They hit the jackpot with Brock Purdy. Like, they got him late in the draft, and he's playing top 10.
Yeah, I just.
So why would you go from top 10 to bottom 10 right now?
It's just bad. It's just bad. The whole situation. It's just like it's going worse to worse here. By the way, I do see Big Blue in the Bronx here in the chat. We'll get to their comments in a second, but got to give them a little shout out and say what's up.
Yeah,
we got to have you guys on the show there. I don't know if we got the whole crew watching or what the deal is here, but see, John says, LOL, Daniel might be out if Tyrod, Shane, and Dable to beat their old team. That'd be crazy. Yeah, I mean, listen, that would be at least something nice to come out of this season here. If Tyrod Taylor is the quarterback and Joe Shane and Dable get a little revenge at that point, not that it was a bad breakup like that. They would just moved on to a better spot. But yeah, it's a nice story. It's a nice story.
Yeah.
Dom Toretto. Is that Vin Diesel? Is that the Vin Diesel there? Says fire Dable.
Face.
Oh, that's definitely actually Vin Diesel in the picture. I'm just saying, making a joke. It's obviously not the actual Vin Diesel. Says Dom. Says fire Dable and Shane for this ugly mess. How many effing years does it take to build any team any type of line that can block in a single play. That is disgusting and disgraceful. But here's the problem we keep on running into. We keep firing coaches every other year. It doesn't work, guys. That's what bad teams do. You have to find a way to work within what you got to a certain degree. And Dable, again, he's not a bad coach. Shane has made some mistakes, yes, but 2 months ago, everybody was praising this guy as the best GM we ever had since George Young.
Yeah, now everyone's saying fire him. Like, come on,
yeah,
write it out.
we got to write it out there. Yes.
We haven't finished our second season with these guys. Like, come on, let's give it a few years, see what happens. When you rebuild, not every building piece is going to work. You're going to have to scrap some and go back to it.
Exactly. So there we go with our first Big Blue in the Bronx I mentioned before comment. So it says, "What's up, fellas? This team is a joke." And yeah, this team is definitely a joke. Absolutely.
I'm just waiting for the punchline.
Listen, we are basically a walking punchline. That's what it boils down to. So yeah, it's just like I said, it's so sad because we actually had expectations this year. You know, that's the problem. We actually had expectations that we got let down very quickly. But if anybody hasn't, that's part of the reason I'm leaving this comment on the screen. Big Blue in the Bronx. If you're a fan of any New York sports in general, or even just sports as a whole, go ahead and give them a like, give them a follow, give them a share, give them a subscribe, whatever social media platform you typically use. They do not just the Giants, but also the Jets, the Yankees, the Mets, the Knicks, the Nets. They do it the Rangers, the Devils. They do it all. If you're a New York area team, this spot's got you covered here if you're a fan of one of them. So go ahead and get the like, get the follow, get the subscribe and all. John says, Eric Gray best because Daniel left game. Yeah, he beat him out because of that. That's for sure. Big Blue in the Bronx says, glad Neil was focusing on the burger flippers and not the janitors running by him today. Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely embarrassing. John says, ooh, Mr. T eating Mrs. T's pierogies. Oh my God. John would do that. John would be the guy to put those two together. Big Blue in the Bronx says, let Dave Shane get their own QB and move from there. Trade, let walk, Saquon, Adoree, X-Man, Leo, etc. I'm 100% on board with that plan. Here's my only problem I have with that plan, though, is they probably should have done that in the beginning. And I think the biggest issue we're going to have here is we should have probably, in hindsight here, and again, hindsight is 2020. It's not just this thing they say for bullshit reasons. Hindsight truly is 2020. But as Cher would say, if I could turn back time,
I would draft QB.
I would say probably. I wouldn't even say draft a QB. I would say the Giants were much better served by tagging Daniel Jones, and they probably would have had to give a long-term deal to Saquon. But it wouldn't have been for $40 million a year like we're doing for Daniel Jones, who we're already talking about getting rid of 5 weeks into the season.
Yeah, I don't think hindsight's 2020. That like we still got him pretty cheap, and it would have been cheaper if you tagged him twice over the 2 years as you wait for your quarterback than it would be for this deal when we get rid of him.
You know, I'll go one further. Did we even have to tag him? Who was taking Daniel Jones?
This is true. I'm sure the team would have.
I'm not trying to be like a jerk about it. I'm just saying, like, who would have said, if we gave him the tag, but they gave him the tag that he can go shop around like we gave to Saquon in the end? Who was going, you know what? I need to pay $40 million to Daniel Jones. Was there really that quarterback needy of a team that would have done that?
Probably not.
And again, maybe I'm using hindsight in this part of it as well, going, well, we know now, so of course nobody would. I can't think of one.
I'm sure a team would have picked.
And again, and I said this on Twitter earlier, we all ranted and raved about how great this deal was when we made it. So guys, I'm not trying to say that God damn it, why we make that move? Like, we were all for it. Let's be very frank here. We were all for it. There's not many voices out there that are like, this was a bad move. They shouldn't have done this. But like I said, at this point here, you got to look at it and say it's probably the wrong move. So
Yeah,
we're gonna have to pay this man like 40. We're gonna pay this man $48 million next year.
How much we pay him this year?
Not much.
Yeah. So if you tagged him $40 million this year and you tag him again next year because you can't find your spot of who you're going to, if your quarterback come to, how much would that tag been? Now you're going to hold 80 something million.
We tagged him 1 year though, is what I'm saying in the scenario.
I hear you.
Realize he's not good enough. So his number this year, for the record, is $15.4 million according to Over the Cap. Okay, we'll have to pay him. His cap number next year is $47 million.
Okay, so 53.
Hold on. The year after that, if we cut him, we're still losing $22.2 million against the cap. So you're talking 22 plus 47 plus 15. So we're still giving up what, 37, 57, 64.5 million dollars to a quarterback that we don't want him after 5 games.
You said 15. 15, 47, that's 53, and then another 22, that's 75.
Yeah. Saying that's my math's horrible, I know. I went to Jersey schools. What do you want?
So did I. We went to the same schools.
They're all crap of schools. But yeah, like I said, to me, it's just like I said, hindsight 2020, it was the wrong move. We weren't against it at the time, so I'm not trying to play that game, but like I said,
I'm not on board with that yet.
I am. So we're just indifferent on that.
Yeah, we're indifferent because
it's fine.
Even still, it's
fine. We'll talk again. We'll revisit this topic in 2 weeks. See what you think then.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's still cheaper than tagged him this year, right?
It's not because in your scenario, we're tagging him a second time. We're only tagging him one time. In my scenario. Yeah. So Big Blue in the Bronx, appreciate the plugs, fellas. Anytime. Yeah,
you got him.
They plug us all the time too. So gotta plug him back. Definitely gotta plug him back. Plus, to be very frank, there's a lot of content creators that just aren't that good. I'm not trying to toot our own horn and say that's good. It's not my decision to make if we're that good or not. But these guys are good. They're good. John says, sorry, I'm loyal to 2 Giant Goofballs podcasts. John, you can watch more than one podcast. You can watch more than one.
But we appreciate that. Thank you.
We appreciate your loyalty. That's why you have the coat of arms and everything up. But you can go ahead and watch multiple. I watch multiple. I don't just watch ours. John says, Daniel can play if he's got blocking. Like I've said before, getting hit sacked all day long, and let's see how you perform. Listen, I get hit all the time. He says, especially with no blocking, no running back playing, no one getting open, watch, he'll go somewhere else and play great. Listen, here's the thing. Daniel Jones is missing guys wide open, by the way. If you go watch the All-22 film, he's missing guys that are wide open. He's not throwing it when they're wide open. That's already going on. Like I said, I don't think he's that good personally. And like I said, I think he can still be a high-end backup, low-end starter of this league. I'm not saying he can't start somewhere else. He's not good enough for my expectations of the Giants. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah. I mean, also, how many of those missed throws? I'll have to go check out the All-22, but how many of those missed throws are because he's under pressure and he's throwing fast? He's definitely making mistakes. But there's also
I think it's more David Carr syndrome. He's hearing footsteps that aren't there.
I mean, I think they are there since he's been sacked how many times this year? Probably
no, but I'm saying there are. He's thinking people are closer than they actually are. And I get it. Listen, you get hit nonstop. That's what happens. I'm not even blaming Daniel Jones for this. Let me be very clear on that. I'm not blaming Daniel Jones. What I'm suggesting is he can't be our quarterback long term. I'm not saying we didn't ruin him. Hell, John Maris said we ruined him. But he's done. He's not going to play to that par we need. All there is to it. It's a business decision, no matter how much I like him as a person, because I do. I'm not the Jones basher that says, "Oh, it's goofy, little blah blah blah." Like, no, like, yeah, like we joke around the way he looks goofy sometimes. He does, but we don't harp on that kind of stuff. We have respect for him as a person. We respect actually the fact that he does give it his all. Listen, if you don't think this man's given it every goddamn thing he has, you're crazy. You don't watch the games. He gives it every single game. Gives everything he has. Puts his body on the line for this team.
Yeah, 22 sacks in the career so far.
Yeah, there's respect that comes with that. But I still have to be realistic and say he's not the answer long term.
No.
So, John says, "No thanks, I've tried and I always come back here." Well, we appreciate that, John.
Thank you, buddy.
John says, yes, he misses them, but would he if he wasn't getting hit all the time? I don't know. That's why I'm saying I'm not suggesting otherwise, that we didn't ruin him, because we definitely, it's part of the equation. But I'm just saying, C.J. Stroud, Joe Burrow, we've talked about these guys before. There's guys that have succeeded. If you are really good at being a quarterback, you will find a way. You will find a way. He also says, I think Daniel's on shrooms. Ever see his eyes when interviewed by that Carl guy? Oh, my God. You're right to say we're not going to bash him as a person. They're just like, he's on shrooms. All righty, guys. I think I think we pretty much said all we can say in this game here. I mean, again, defense played like I know we got some though. Defense played like crap because they gave up a ton of yards. At least they got some turnovers that helped make them less crap. It's like a solid poop, not diarrhea. Offense was diarrhea. That was the diarrhea.
Cha.
Special teams, it sucks that Gano missed the field goal, but again, 55-yarder, you accept that, and he should have been in that position anyway because it should have been a closer field goal if it wasn't for the sack and all. Jamie Gillum, who I bashed on a consistent basis, again, another decent game by him. So listen, I'm gonna say it point blank. As much as I like to bash people when they play bad, Jamie Gillum has been a very much a bright side for this team this year, which I feel weird saying.
Yeah, I was about to say, especially you.
I feel weird saying it.
He's definitely done some work.
Whoever, and it's sad, we're talking about T-Mac, and I'm calling for his head before. I don't know who worked with him exactly to do it, but all of a sudden, he's much better. He's not hitting it right into the end zone. We've gotten guys pinned back actually for once. So, kudos to him for the work and everything, because that's not something you do overnight. That's you putting the work in. So, I'm glad to hear it. Glad to be wrong on that one, at least so far. He said, anytime I dislike a player or I think they're not the right fit, if I'm wrong, not only will I admit it, but I will gladly admit it. I want every single Giant to be successful. I want the Pro Bowl to be full of New York Giants. I want the Super Bowl to be won by the Giants every single year. Team first, guys. Team first over my own personal opinions on these players. All righty, guys. So we'll be back again tomorrow night for you guys. We do a recap of all the NFL games as usual. Back to Monday night for that there. And then, of course, we'll start it back up again. We'll have our picks game on Wednesday next week. We'll have our, our update on who's beating who on that there. It was getting a little tight, the race there, because Rob had a really good week. But we're getting a little tight, so let's see how that goes on.
Tight like a tiger.
And then Thursday, of course, we'll do our pregame special. We'll have the Buffalo Bills talk there, and we'll go ahead and give you everything there as far as our update and see if there's even a chance that Brian Dable and Joe Shane get to smile a little bit as they beat their old team there. But in the meantime, guys, enjoy the rest of the games going on if you're not already watching one. And as always, Giant fans,
Go G-Man!
G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support. If you made it this long, you must have enjoyed it. So I am sure you have followed us on all the social media platforms. Of course, you have subscribed to the show on your favorite app as well and given us a top rating. Right?
Thank you to those who have signed up for our silver gold levels of membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.